and welcome to Tell the People, a program about our Catholic faith with news and information in and around the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette. I'm Trista Littell. In today's show, we highlight the Monastery of Mary, Mother of Grace Carmelite Community as they celebrate the 5th centenary of the birth of their mother, Saint Teresa of Jesus, Doctor of the Church. Father Michael Russo is here in this segment, What It Means to be Catholic, talking about a beautiful act of contrition. And in the segment, a conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell, Monsignor Richard Green interviews Bishop Jarrell about the upcoming ordination of New Orleans Auxiliary Bishop Cherie. But first, Catholic news on this March 22nd weekend. Opportunities for confession during Lent. Several priests will be present to hear confessions as follows. Tuesday, March 24th from 6 to 7 p.m., Mass at 5:30 p.m. at St. Bernard Catholic Church in Breaux Bridge. On Wednesday, March 25th at 6:30 p.m. at St. Martin de Porres Church in Delcombe, another penance service will be held on Thursday, March 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Holy Ghost Church in Opelousas. Men 16 years old and older are invited to a Come and See Palm Sunday Weekend Vocation Retreat at St. Joseph Seminary College in St. Benedict, Louisiana. For more information about this Come and See retreat, held Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 27th, 28th, and 29th, call 261-5690. The Community of Jesus Crucified continues its series on the gift of consecrated life in the Church. The remaining sessions will be held on Friday, March 27th at 7 p.m. at Our Lady of Sorrows Retreat Center, 103 Railroad Avenue in St. Martinville. And that's Catholic news for this week. Coming up next, we highlight the Monastery of Mary, Mother of Grace Carmelite Community as they celebrate the 5th centenary of the birth of their mother, Saint Teresa of Jesus, Doctor of the Church. Sister Aaliyah and Sister Teresa, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the centenary year in honor of Saint Teresa of Jesus. Sister Aaliyah, could you please tell us, what is the Teresian Jubilee year?
It is a year-long celebration of the 500th birthday of Saint Teresa of Jesus, the mother of the Discalced Carmelites. It began on her feast day last October 15th and will continue through this October 15th. For the past 6 years, the order has been preparing for this event by rereading her works and studying more deeply her spiritual teachings. This year, we are moving from a more internal to a more public celebration.
Well, Sister Teresa, have the Carmelites chosen a theme for this year?
Yes, the theme is, I was born for you. These words come from one of St. Teresa's poems. The entire line reads, I am yours and born for you. What do you want of me? And throughout the poem, she repeats that she was born for God and wants only what He wills for her. And this is essential to her entire spiritual doctrine.
Well, Sister Aaliyah, it's obvious that this year is very important for the Carmelite community, but what about the Church as a whole?
We believe it is a time of grace for the entire Church because Saint Teresa's life and work are not just for the Carmelites, but for all. And the Church has officially recognized this by making Saint Teresa the first woman doctor of the Church, which means that officially she is a qualified teacher of spiritual doctrine. Her other official title is Mother of Spirituality because of her profound experience of God's work in her soul and her lived out teachings on prayer. And Pope Francis has said to the whole Church, may Saint Teresa's footsteps lead us to Jesus.
Thank you. Sister Teresa, I understand that the actual date of Saint Teresa's birthday is March 28th. Will there be any special celebrations on that day?
Yes, on that day we will have a 10 a.m. Mass in honor of St. Teresa with Father Michael Champagne as the main celebrant and homilist. The secular Carmelites are invited to participate, as well as the general public.
Sister Aaliyah, has your Carmel scheduled any other events to mark St. Teresa's 5th centenary?
Yes, we have 4 other public events planned. On Monday, April 20th, we will host a day with St. Teresa for the priests of our diocese. It will begin at 9 o'clock with a lecture by our Carmelite Father Daniel Chowning, and then we will have a concelebrated Mass with Bishop Gerald as the main celebrant.
And also on Pentecost Sunday, May 24th, we will have a 10 a.m. Mass in thanksgiving for 3 jubilees of religious profession for our own Sister Anne, 70 years, Mother Mary John, 60 years, and Sister Teresa Ann Bio, CDP, 50 years, which is also Mother Mary John's blood sister. Monsignor LaRocque will be the main celebrant, and Monsignor Michael Jamel from Beaumont, Texas, will be the homilist. Also, we will host our annual July Novena in honor of Our Lady of Mount Carmel from the 8th to the 16th. It will be in honor of St. Teresa, honoring her devotion to Mary as mother and patroness of Carmel, and also model of consecrated life. Father Juan Elias Medina will be the novena celebrant and homilist.
And the Teresian year ends this coming October 15th, her feast day, but we will have a very special celebration on Sunday, October 11th, to end our festivities. It will be a 2 p.m. liturgy with Father Adam Gonzalez, a Carmelite from California, as the main celebrant and homilist, and everyone is invited. Another joyful and most unexpected gift for this Teresian year will be on May 17th, the canonization of one of St. Teresa's Arab daughters, Blessed Mary of Jesus Crucified. She founded the Carmels of Bethlehem and Nazareth and is the first Carmelite from the Holy Land to be canonized. We are praying that her intercession will bring peace and hope to the Middle East.
Oh, that is so timely. Sister Teresa, would you please tell us something about the life of St. Teresa?
Yes, St. Teresa is one of the most interesting and intriguing saints of the Church. She was born in Avila, Spain in 1515. She was endowed with an engaging and vivacious personality and was very much loved by her family and friends. She was a woman of beauty and warmth with a great capacity for influencing others. She was a woman that was very much down to earth and practical, and she was very much blessed with an abundance of common sense. Despite great health issues, she radiated a great liveliness and enthusiasm for life.
She was also a profoundly spiritual person, gifted with contemplative prayer and mystical graces. And even today, her writings continue to have an immense influence in the Church. Her life's work, the reform and renewal of the Carmelite order, returned it to its original ideal and enriched it with a new apostolic dimension. She herself founded 17 monasteries in Spain, and now the Discalced Carmelites span the globe.
Well, Sister Aaliyah, could you give us one final message that you think St. Teresa would emphasize today?
She once wrote to her daughters, "In times like these, staunch friends of God are necessary." To be staunch friends of God. I think this is what St. Teresa would recommend to us, especially in our world today.
Well, if anybody wants to know about upcoming events at the monastery or would like to know more, I understand they can visit your website at www.LafayetteCarmelites.org.
Yes.
Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Folks, to commemorate the 5th centenary of St. Teresa of Jesus, Doctor of the Church, Carmelites from around the world have produced this music video. We hope it inspires you.
I am Sister Pia from Carmel of St. Joseph, Croatia.
Kelly del Niño Jesús, Colombia.
Zuster Goede Wende van Maria, België.
Sister Lucia from the Netherlands.
Sister Judy Long, United States.
Sister Catherine Ann Therese, Australia.
María del Mar, España.
Sœur Caroline, France.
Sister Raphael, Singapore.
Sister Lucas of Five Wounds, London, United Kingdom.
Sister Pauline, Carmel Lembang, Indonesia.
Sister Celeste, Canada.
Sœur Mireille Teresa, Suisse.
Sister Augustine Neva, Philippines.
Coming up next, Father Michael Russo is here in the segment, What It Means to Be Catholic, talking about a beautiful act of contrition.
Hello, I'm Father Michael Russo, the pastor of Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church here in Lafayette. Contrary to what some people think, religion is primarily a matter of the heart, not the head. This is why one can outline all the theological arguments with great precision and clarity, but if a person is not yet ready to listen, if their heart is not open, it all falls on deaf ears, no matter how convincing our arguments may be. Conversion is ultimately not about the head, it's about the heart, because it's about being in love. Behind all the rules of the Catholic Church is the divine person, Jesus. And so I obey the rules not for fear of punishment, that's what little kids do. No, I'm mature enough in my faith to know that I obey because I don't want to offend the one I love. Again, we're back to the heart. I give you now the biblical example of King David, the great king of Israel. Here's his story. One day he rises from his siesta and walks on his patio roof, and he sees a beautiful woman bathing. First sin, a lustful look. The king sins for the woman and has relations with her. Second sin, adultery. The woman becomes pregnant. Now the king is trapped. So what does he do? He has the woman's husband placed in heavy battle in order to be killed. Third sin, murder. The lustful look of a king, that seemingly innocent, curious little glance. Come on, what's so wrong with it? I didn't mean any harm by it. Sound familiar? Well, this ends up becoming adultery and murder. You see, our emotions are very powerful, sometimes overwhelmingly so. They cause us to do stupid things. King David let the emotions of his heart overrule his brain. He let his emotions overrule his values and damage his relationship with God and those around him. But here's the rest of his story. After the king comes to his senses, he writes a prayer. It is a beautiful act of contrition, Psalm 51, and it's a prayer for a new heart. Have mercy on me, God, in your kindness. In your compassion, blot out my offense. O wash me more and more from my guilt, and create in me a clean heart. Is not this prayer for all of us? Do not we all need new hearts? Do not we all from time to time have hearts filled with anger and jealousy, resentment and lust, filled with a host of negative emotions that take their toll, so much so that, like King David, we get off track? You see, most people may not be grievous sinners, but listen carefully. The damage of negativity, always looking at things with a negative attitude, negative thoughts, negative words, negative actions, is very real just the same. And the result, there is no peace. We're empty and void. The heart turns inward and becomes bitter and cold, grumpy and gossipy. The point, we need to forgive. We need to let go of our hurts. We need to let go of our resentments, whatever the negative emotions may be, but our hearts just won't let us. And so like King David, we too have need to cry out, O Lord, give me a new heart. Create in me a new heart. Is such a thing possible? Is it ever possible to reprogram our emotions? It's not easy because think about it. Have you ever tried to lose weight? You know how hard this is, and this is just about the extra weight on the surface of our lives. Now try going deeper within the soul. Try to extract emotions that have been building up since the day we were born. Even the best psychologists have difficulty with their patients with this task. You see, our emotions do not develop overnight. Whatever drove King David to lust after another man's wife did not evolve the day he saw her bathing on the roof. No sin, especially the big ones, is an isolated event. They all have a prehistory. Little usually becomes big. Our emotions are deeply rooted. They don't surrender willingly. Even the saints understood this. Listen to what the great biblical giant St. Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans. He wrote, "When I want to do good, evil is right there with me. In my inner being I delight in God's law, but I see another law at work in me, waging war and making me a prisoner of sin." And then he goes on to say, "What a wretched man I am." St. Paul is actually teaching and saying that he struggles to control his heart. He struggles to control his emotions. He struggles to control his sinful nature. Indeed, to a point, they are controlling him. And if that was true of St. Paul, how much more true is it of you and me? So here's the lesson. The spiritual life is hard. It involves struggle. That's why we need to be at Mass on Sunday. There is no way authentic change can ever take place in a person's heart but by the power of God. Only God can do it, just as he did with King David and St. Paul, but only after they acknowledged their wrongdoing, only after they went to confession. Lent is about asking God for a new heart, rising from the ashes we place on our foreheads at its beginning, to be cleansed and renewed. Dear friends, on this 5th Sunday of Lent, with the statues covered in some churches, to remind us that in the coming days things are going to get scary, so much so that some of Jesus' closest followers will run away from him and hide, we dare to pray for the grace to become aware of all the negative and destructive things we sometimes do with our emotions, daring to echo one of the most beautiful acts of contrition ever written, Psalm 51, the plea of a penitent king who realized he had done a terrible wrong. So he writes an act of contrition, "Have mercy on me, O God, in your compassion. Wash away my sin and create in me a clean heart. Give me, O Lord, a new heart." To my Catholic brothers and sisters, be at Mass this Sunday. Make a good confession before Easter, and until next time, God love you.
Coming up next in the segment, a conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell, Monsignor Richard Green interviews Bishop Jarrell about the upcoming ordination of New Orleans Auxiliary Bishop Cherie.
Good morning, and thank you for having us in your home again for another conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell of the Diocese of Lafayette. Bishop, as always, it's good to be with you.
Thank you. I enjoy being here with you on Sundays and with everyone in our audience as well.
In January, the Vatican announced the appointment of an auxiliary bishop for the Archdiocese of New Orleans. He will be ordained tomorrow in St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans. And so, Bishop, what is the name of this new bishop?
He is Father Fernand Cherie, and I'll spell it C-H-E-R-I, Cherie. His first name is Fernand, but he goes by the name Ferd, and that has been since back in seminary days, so I don't think he's changed that, so I guess we could use his first name and call him Bishop Ferd. Well, he's 63 years old. He's African American or Creole. He was born in New Orleans and ordained a priest of the Archdiocese of New Orleans in 1978. He has a brother who is a priest in the Archdiocese of New Orleans. After ordination, Father Cherie served in 4 different parishes in the New Orleans area. And then in 1992, 14 years after he was ordained, he decided to join a religious order, the Order of Friars Minor. We usually just say the Franciscans. Well, he studied theology at Notre Dame Seminary in New Orleans. By the way, many of our local priests know him because they were in school together. And on different occasions, Father Cherie has spoken at events here in the Diocese of Lafayette. He was serving as campus minister at Quincy College in Quincy, Illinois. I don't know a lot about it, but of course, these days with the internet, we can find out a lot. So anyone interested in Quincy College can certainly locate information.
Okay. And I hear he's a musician.
Yes, he is very accomplished in music and liturgy, especially in the music of Black Catholic worship. And I think he's done a lot of work in trying to catalog all that music and bring it together. So I think that's a gift that he has shared with the church for many years. And now as a bishop, he will have a different platform from which to operate and from which to promote liturgy, especially among the Black Catholics.
Where can we learn more information about Bishop Cherie?
Well, in my own trying to find out information, I've found that the website of the National Black Catholic Conference, NBCC, has more on his biography and his activities. So I would refer people to that website, NBCC, the National Black Catholic Conference. I think that it has, or Congress, I believe is the actual name, NBCC. I think it has more information than the other websites I've checked.
Okay. Well, Bishop, the Vatican appointed him an auxiliary bishop. What's an auxiliary bishop?
Auxiliary bishop is an assistant bishop. Auxiliary bishops usually serve in large dioceses. I might add that Bishop Flynn, whom many people remember, was auxiliary bishop for several years when he first came to Lafayette. Later he became ordinary when Bishop Fry retired. So he was auxiliary and then ordinary. Archbishop Gregory Amond is the Archbishop in New Orleans, and Bishop Cherie will assist him. I would expect, first of all, in the area of confirmations, bishops spend a good portion of their time in celebrating the sacrament of confirmation. Of course, New Orleans is a large archdiocese. Archbishop Amon has been doing most of the confirmations. Bishop Dominic Carman, who is retired, does assist him. But now, with Bishop Cherie, he will have an additional help in conducting confirmations. And then an auxiliary bishop does whatever else the archbishop asks him to do. So it varies with regard to the archdiocese itself. It varies with regard to the particular interests and talents of the auxiliary bishop himself. I would think that in the Archdiocese of New Orleans, with its large Black Catholic community, that Bishop Cherie will be a channel, a way for Archbishop Amon to reach out to the Black Catholics and to listen to their cares and concerns. However, I'm not Archbishop of New Orleans, so I can't tell you exactly what he'll be doing. I think we'll learn that as time goes on.
Well, will Bishop Cherie succeed Archbishop Amon?
Probably not. Archbishop Amon is only 2 years older than Bishop Cherie, but you know, anything is possible. But just in my own estimation, assuming that Archbishop Amon remains in New Orleans, I would assume he would not, that Bishop Cherie would not be succeeding him as Archbishop.
Okay. Well, could he be named the bishop of a diocese?
Well, he could. Now, his age is a factor. You know, getting into one's 60s, they're not very liable to name you into a bishop of another diocese, but it has happened. So even if he serves 2 or 3 years in New Orleans, he still could be named as bishop of another diocese. Yes, it's possible.
Yeah. Bishop, will you be attending Bishop Cherie's ordination as bishop tomorrow?
Definitely.
Okay.
This is a very important event for the church in our state. Whenever there's an ordination of a bishop, all the bishops in the state try to go. Bishop Cherie will be a member of our Louisiana Conference of Catholic Bishops. So I'll be working with him as a member of that group. So I certainly want to be there to witness this event and also to give a few words of encouragement to him and to join with him and the other people there in prayer for God's blessings, not only upon him and the Archdiocese of New Orleans, but upon our whole state. So yes, I'll certainly be there.
Thank you, Bishop Gerald and Monsignor Green. We hope you have enjoyed our program because it is produced for you. So please join us next week on this station as we tell the people about the Diocese of Lafayette and the good news of our Catholic faith.